I remember the exact moment my world cracked. Not with shouting or a fight, but with a whisper I wasn't supposed to hear. Her laughter, soft yet unfamiliar, came from the kitchen as she spoke to someone on the phone. She called him my love, in a tone she once reserved for me. At first, I thought it was a joke, some harmless slip. But then I caught the way her voice dropped when I entered the room, the way her eyes avoided mine. I didn't ask questions. I didn't need to. Something in my chest told me the truth was already there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for me to look closer. It wasn't one thing. It was 100 little cracks. The late nights she worked, the sudden obsession with her phone, the way she dressed like she was meeting someone new. I told myself I was imagining it. That love makes you paranoid if you let it. But then I saw her smile at a message, the kind of smile I hadn't seen directed at me in months. And in that moment, I knew. I didn't confront her. I just watched, quietly, like a man standing in the shadows, taking notes on a play he already knew the ending to. The truth came by accident. She left her laptop open, the screen glowing in the dark. I wasn't looking for it. God knows I didn't want to find it. But there it was. A thread of messages, intimate and smug. Him telling her how much he couldn't wait to see her again. Her promising him the money would come soon, that I was too blind to notice. My stomach turned. It wasn't just betrayal. It was calculation. She was using me, stringing me along until I had nothing left to give. And still, I didn't explode. That wasn't my style. I closed the laptop without a word. I lay beside her that night, listening to her steady breathing, wondering how many lies she had told me while looking me straight in the eye. I thought about the years I'd invested, the dreams we'd built together. How I worked late shifts, skipped vacations, saved every spare dollar, all for us. And here she was, selling pieces of me to someone else for promises I knew would turn to dust. But I wouldn't give her the satisfaction of seeing me break. No, I would make her regret every choice, slowly. People expect rage in these moments, shouting, smashing, demanding answers. But rage is loud, and loud is easy to see coming. I wanted to be silent. Silent is dangerous. I started small. I memorized every password, every account. I backed up every message, every photo, every incriminating word. I began shifting money, just a little at first, into places she couldn't reach. She didn't notice. She was too busy texting him, making plans, thinking I was the fool in the story. But I was writing a new ending, one she'd never see until it was too late. The first seed I planted was doubt. I made casual comments about mutual friends asking strange questions. I hinted that people were talking about her. She brushed it off, but I saw the flicker in her eyes. At the same time, I began cutting off her escape routes, canceling subscriptions in her name, changing payment methods. She assumed it was bank errors. I apologized, promised to fix it. I didn't. I let the small inconveniences grow into real problems, each one chipping away at the little world she thought she controlled. I stopped doing the things she took for granted. No more fixing her car when the engine light came on. No more paying for her impulsive shopping sprees. I became distant, but not cold, just enough to make her wonder if I'd lost interest. Meanwhile, I stayed close enough to hear every lie she told. She thought she was juggling two men, playing me while building her future with him. What she didn't know was that I was slowly draining the life out of the safety net she thought she had. Her tone with me began to change. Less affectionate, more impatient. She started slipping, forgetting to delete certain messages, leaving receipts in her bag. I collected them all. Every detail became part of my case. I wasn't going to expose her to him. No, I wanted him to keep believing her. Because the longer he believed, the more tangled they became. And the more tangled they became, the harder it would be for her to crawl back when the walls finally closed in. I learned everything about him without ever meeting him. His job, his debts, his failed relationships. He wasn't her way up. He was her way down, though she didn't see it yet. I started leaving little breadcrumbs for her to find, subtle enough to make her think she was slipping. An unexplained bank charge here, a missed bill there. Her frustration grew. She snapped at me more often, accusing me of being careless. I let her. Every accusation was another brick in the wall I was building around her. The turning point came when she asked me for a large sum of money. She said it was for something urgent, something personal. I told her I'd handle it, then forgot. She reminded me twice before giving up, but I saw the panic behind her eyes. Without that money, whatever plan she and he had was faltering. That night, she spent hours on her phone, pacing the kitchen. I stayed in the living room, pretending not to notice. I knew she was scrambling, and I knew the clock was ticking. I started tightening the screws. I called in favors. Had certain bills come due earlier than expected. Insurance lapsed. Fees appeared. Her phone mysteriously stopped working one afternoon, forcing her to borrow mine. I could see her scrolling through messages, checking to make sure nothing was missing. Everything she expected to find was there, because I wanted her to feel safe. The real damage wasn't in what she could see. It was in the quiet, invisible erosion of her security, the kind that doesn't register until the floor gives way. She became jumpy, checking the windows at night, locking the door twice. I never asked why. I let her think it was all in her head. But in truth, I had begun pulling away in ways she couldn't ignore. I skipped dinner at home. I didn't answer every call. She was losing control over me, and it terrified her. Her messages to him became more desperate, her tone sharper. She needed him to step up, but he wasn't built for pressure. I knew it was only a matter of time before their cracks showed. The first real fracture came when I intercepted one of their clans. They were supposed to meet in a hotel 2 towns over. I booked the same room an hour earlier, paid in cash, and left a mess behind. Nothing illegal, just enough to make the hotel manager call her when she arrived. She denied everything, of course, but he didn't believe her. Their messages turned cold. She spent the next week trying to reel him back in, but I could tell the trust between them had been poisoned. I didn't need to lift another finger. She tried to keep up appearances at home, but the mask slipped more often. Her voice cracked when she spoke to me. Her temper flared over nothing. I responded with calm detachment, the kind that makes a guilty person feel small. At the same time, I kept pushing small inconveniences her way, an accidental bill overpayment that left her short on cash, a sudden cancellation of a trip she'd been planning. She thought the universe was against her. In reality, it was just me, pulling strings from the shadows. I knew she'd break eventually, but I didn't expect it to be so soon. One night, she came home late, eyes red, hands shaking. She didn't say a word, just went straight to bed. I checked her phone the next morning. He'd blocked her. No explanation, just silence. She tried calling, texting, but nothing went through. I could almost feel the panic radiating from her. Her lifeline was gone, and she hadn't even realized I'd been sawing through the rope for months. Over the next few weeks, she unraveled. Bills piled up. Friends stopped inviting her places. The excuses she'd used to cover her absences no longer worked. I didn't need to confront her. I didn't need to raise my voice. Every piece of her life was collapsing under the weight of her own choices. I watched from a distance, the same way she once watched me, thinking I was too blind to see. But I saw everything, and I never once reached out to save her. She tried to rebuild. Started an online fundraiser claiming she was a victim of abuse. Said I ruined her life. Posted blurry pictures and half-truths. I let her scream into the void. Because behind every post, I had receipts, proof of every lie, every theft, every betrayal. When people started to believe her, I released the truth. Slowly, strategically. The fundraiser taken down. Her followers turned on her. The last thread she clung to snapped. She messaged me after that, said she was sorry, that she missed me, that she didn't know what she was doing. I didn't reply. She didn't deserve closure. She deserved to sit with the silence she gave me for months while I lay beside a stranger in my own home. I wanted her to feel the weight of every moment she thought she was winning, only to realize she'd been losing all along. Silence became my sharpest weapon. Months passed. I heard she'd moved in with her sister, working a job she hated just to keep the lights on. No new man, no glamorous life. Just the quiet grind of survival. People who once defended her avoided her now. The story she spun had fallen apart, thread by thread, until she stood alone in the wreckage. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I simply lived my life, free of her shadow, knowing she'd carry the memory of what she lost forever. Some say revenge is about making the other person suffer. For me, it was never about that. It was about balance. She took years from me, twisted my trust, turned love into a weapon. All I did was return the energy she gave me. Only quieter, sharper, more permanent. She'll spend the rest of her life looking over her shoulder, wondering if the next bad thing is my doing. And maybe it will be. Or maybe the worst thing is knowing I'm out there, not thinking of her at all.